Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Toonami Squad Sessions podcast. I'm your host, Sam, at SamC299. With me today, I got Phantom.
Hola.
I got Logan, once again, with Darth DeMarco.
Yo.
Got the other Sam.
Hi.
For the first time in what I feel like has been over a year, Silver has come out of the grave.
It's been 64 years, sir.
Finally.
Welcome,
It's
Silver.
been so long.
And
Do we have Dragon Ball Daima? Is it finally happening? Did we get Spirited Away back on the block?
And lastly, we got a special guest. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, this is Kuro, also known as Happy Kuro Kitty, editor for ToonamiFaithful.com and co-host of the TF podcast. And it's a pleasure to be here with you all. Hi.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. So first, okay, I was going to say this is the first podcast of the new year, but that's not true because our last one, we recorded that in December 28th, 2024, got uploaded January 3rd, 2025. So technically, this is the first recording of 2025. And
It's my first podcast of the year.
Lots of news,
Yes.
too.
That counts.
Oh, lots of news indeed. Not good news.
I mean,
just
if you want to call
news.
it news.
Oh yeah, that too. But let's yet again, let's do our usual tradition. What are we watching? So I had a bunch on my plate, and I'm not going to spend too long on that. I recently, like last time I mentioned, I saw Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, and I saw the rest of the series, like all those movies, Dreaming Girl, Venturing Out, and Knapsack Kid. And dear God, I am an emotional wreck. Aside from that, I recently had been revisiting a lot of my first anime that I saw, when ironically first years on Toonami, and I recently did a massive revisit on Tokyo Ghoul. Watched which I remember
Why do you do
everyone
that to
did.
yourself? Sorry.
I was morbidly curious because I
But
didn't
why,
have a whole lot.
Was
Do
it
we
as
need
bad
to-
as I
do we need to-
remember? Yes, it was.
Yes.
Sorry.
Do we need to
So-
do better help?
Wink
I-
twice if you're being held hostage.
I saw the first season and the god awful Route A season. Then I went and I read the manga to actually see what the source said. And then I recently saw Route A, and now I'm reading the Route A manga. And I understand a lot of the frustrations, but at the same time, I did not aggravate. I don't know the right term. I did not aggressively. There we go. I did not aggressively hate Route A as much as everyone else did. I mean, not Route. No, not Route A. Re. I did not aggressively hate Re as much as everyone else did. I hated Route A, but yeah. I'm trying to think what else.
I do have one question. I've been meaning to ask you about this. When you were watching Tokyo Ghoul, were you at least drinking alcohol? At least that.
One time.
Okay, but I mean, throughout the whole thing. Look, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Tokyo Ghoul fucking sucks, man. It's one of those rare shows where I go, yeah, I'm never watching that again.
So aside from that,
sorry.
You're good. Aside from that, I been rewatching I recently rewatched the first season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Phantom Blood and Battle Tendency, since I haven't seen those since they aired on Toonami. And in terms of movies, I recently saw Captain America: Brave New World, which, I mean, it's not the greatest film ever, nor do I think it's good. Well, okay, not good. It's good. It's a solid, good film that I think is just one of the better MCU movies of recent memory, but not by a whole lot. And then I'm currently watching a bunch of simulcasted shows, like Sakamoto Days is really good. Solo Leveling's back. That's amazing. Unfortunately, watching a little trash show called Ubel Blatt. I don't know why. It's not good. Don't watch it. I don't know why I'm watching it, but I am.
You hate yourself?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah, and recently been watching the new Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man on Disney Plus, which that is actually really good. I wasn't expecting anything out of it because I don't watch whole lot of the Marvel animated stuff, but that's really solid. The last 2 episodes actually dropped today, so I'll probably get to that once we're done here. But I think that's it from me. What about you, Phantom?
Okay, so I do have a whining dog, so please bear with me. We watched Daredevil on Disney Plus in preparation for Born Again. Also saw Brave New World and watched Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man while at work. So there's that. Watched Marshall, which we'll talk about later, and been watching the Donkey Kong Country cartoon.
Is it Banana Slamming time?
It's always Banana Slammer time.
Logan, what about you?
So anime-wise, I did watch the new 4K re-release of Macross Do You Remember Love, which is a fantastic movie, but unfortunately, the creator of the Macross franchise, pretty sure he directed the movie, but either way, he's got some kind of control over the remastering, and he decided he wanted a movie from 1984 to look like a modern anime. So even though they did a 5K scan, they did all this AI bullcrap on it, and it honestly looks kind of terrible.
Oh no!
It's really disappointing because it's the first 4K from the Macross franchise. On the plus side, it does mean that our work at Animego on Macross 2's Kickstarter, which is also getting a 4K, hopefully that means that instead of what we had hoped was going to be the first Macross 4K, now it's just going to be the first good Macross 4K. So, I can live with that. But yeah, for I think I paid like $80 for the collector's edition. It's kind of disappointing, so I'm kind of bummed on that. Other anime-wise, I've been watching the dub of the Red Ranger Isekai. What is it? The Red Ranger.
Oh, that's also really good.
World or whatever. That one's been fun. The dub's pretty good. Few little weird nitpicks, like I was hoping they would have translated all the changer voices and stuff and like actually dubbed those instead of using the Japanese ones. But not bad. It's the dub's solid so far. Been replaying Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on PC because I can now play it in
Hell
nice
yes.
4K. Yeah, it looks really good on PC. I'm apparently the only person in the world that doesn't have any issues with it crashing because apparently everybody's complaining that it crashes and it runs perfectly stable 1440p, 4K, whatever, 120 frames per second, no problem whatsoever. So I don't know if I'm just lucky or what, but then I think about the only other thing is I've been slowly rewatching the old Most Extreme Elimination Challenge MXC, available on Blu-ray from Discotech Media. #shameless plug. But yeah, that's about all I've been watching lately.
I really quickly, I forgot to mention this, but I actually recently saw Attack on Titan: The Last Attack, which is essentially the 2 pieces of the finale formed into a actual theatrical event, and it's just the 2 pieces of the finale, and they added a post-credit scene. If there's any animation changes, I don't know, but can I just say, seeing that finale in the theater with the surround sound on the big screen, my god, just goosebumps. Also, the post-credit scene was just freaking 10 out of 10. It was like just one giant fourth wall break and middle finger to all the people who don't like the ending, and that's just great. I really hope they upload it. I really hope they upload that because y'all got to see that so good. But anyway, Silver, what have you been watching?
I'm not gonna lie, I've been playing more than watching. Mainly because for my birthday, my dad surprised me with a PS5.
Nice.
Congrats.
And that's been fun. It's been fun catching up because actually I barely played anything from the PS4. So you know how everyone has been complaining that there are no games on PS5? Well, I basically missed out on the PS4 generation, so that has been no problem for me at all. I'm basically going like, what are you talking about? There's games. Spider-Man is great. I have been watching Daima, or rather, right now catching up on Daima because I've actually been a few weeks behind. That's been fun. It feels like they basically went, "Hey, what if we make Dragon Ball GT, but make it coherent and good?" So far, that's what it feels like. I am 2 episodes behind, but so far it's been fun. It feels nostalgic. There's a lot of jokes that feel like, yeah, Toriyama definitely wrote this. There's been a lot of moments like that, and I have been loving every single second of it. Outside of that, I've been rewatching classics because the world sucks right now, and I've just needed anything to pretend just for a moment.
I feel that. You need happy.
So
you need your happy.
So Outlaw Star and some Space Dandy.
Hell yeah.
So that's been great. And yeah.
All right.
I think that's it.
All right, Sam. What about you?
So I've been watching. Well, recently I started The Expanse on Amazon Prime. That's
nice.
been. I'm almost. I need to go back and finish season 1. I'm on episode 10, so I need to watch that. And then I also have seen Ubelbot this season. It sucked. You don't need to watch it. I've also been watching Blue Exorcist, not the latest season, but the first season. I'm watching it as it's re-airing on Toonami currently, which reminds me I need to watch last week's episode. And then I have mostly seen all of Marshall. I've seen season 1, and so I've watched most of season 2. I still need to finish out season 2. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Bling bling born. I see what you're doing, Phantom. Kuro, we leave it off at you. Have you been seeing anything?
Yeah, I'm watching the newest season of Blue Exorcist. It's like the second part of season 4. It's called the Saga of the Blue Knight. I'm really bad at remembering the titles of these seasons.
I think it's the Illuminati.
No, that was last season.
Oh, okay.
I think it is called Blue Knight.
Yeah,
okay.
And it's coming at the end. There was the Snow Something Saga, so I just finished that, and I just started the Blue Knight Saga, and I'm enjoying that quite a bit. And also, I just finished the animated Lara Croft series on Netflix, which was actually a lot of fun. It made me want to play the games because I've never played a Lara Croft game, and I like how it kind of plays off of the 2013 trilogy of the game. So I'm considering getting them in the near future. We'll see. I really into the newest what's it called? Vox Machina season is so good. I love it. I love Vox Machina. I could like rewatch them so many times, but I'm like taking it really slow because otherwise I'll just binge the whole new season in one afternoon. So I'm trying to like pace myself because otherwise I have to, you have to wait like another year and a half to come out with a new season. So just pacing myself. And then my live action has been actually I've been really into NYPD Blue. There's a Fast channel. They've just been playing NYPD Blue, and I have a thing for crime shows. And it's such a classic, and it's such a well-written show. So, it's giving me my mystery fix that otherwise will be filled with other hoity-toity British mystery shows, as opposed to like gritty American New York cops. And then and then for my safe place right now is Sailor Moon R, which I just got in the mood after Rewind, and I was unfortunately they did not decide to play this next season, but I wanted to watch the next season, so I'm watching Sailor Moon R because that's what I want to do, and I like it, and it makes me happy.
All right. Well, that was a fun time. Substantially shorter than last time.
Did you want me to go an hour long?
No, because we got other things to talk.
I mean,
about.
I can talk about my vacation for an hour if you want.
I could talk about our Central Florida Comic Con.
Anyway, so moving on. So like, we actually will like get into the topics now, and it's funny. Last podcast, I was complaining about the schedule, and then I said, well, if they replace Rick and Morty with Sailor Moon, I'll actually be okay. That'll be the one change that I will like. That I won't fight them on that. 2 weeks later, Rick and Morty and Sailor Moon replaces it, which pretty much, so like all the Rewind shows have essentially been integrated into the main block, and now the last half of Toonami is just essentially Toonami Rewind now. And I said this a while back, and I was just like, a few years ago, if it was announced that Sailor Moon was coming back to Toonami, that would have been like a huge deal right there. Like that would have been, that would have been such a big breaking news story right there. But unfortunately, Sailor Moon coming back to Toonami is kind of muted, mainly just because we know that this is just carrying over from Rewind, which ended up failing. So this is literally just them bringing the show from Rewind to over here. So it's like, unfortunately, he's like, hooray, Sailor Moon's back.
It doesn't help that it's depth slotted though either. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Putting it at 3:00. It's like, I've said it before. I don't see a path forward to any chance of them going, oh yeah, it's actually pulling numbers. Maybe we should go ahead and get the second season because you death slotted it. Like it's not going to pull numbers. Like who cares?
Yep.
Which is a bummer.
I'm probably in a very, 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 very tiny minority in that I actually didn't mind that they moved Sailor Moon to the main block. I do find it annoying that they put it at 3 a.m., but the thing is that, look, I love the Rewind when I could actually watch it. And by that I mean, it's not that I couldn't because of work. Like, I have Fridays off. I could actually watch that. The problem is that Fridays are the days where I usually work on graphics, work on finale arts, or I'm planning ahead for the next holiday graphic or a marathon or whatever. So whenever Toonami Rewind would come on, Sailor Moon would be the show I would usually miss, because by that time I would be making something. And because I have ADHD and it fucking sucks, I would always forget that I would even record the episodes. So to me, it's like, oh, thank God I have a chance to actually watch it. And I actually do end up watching most. Actually, yeah, I end up watching the entire block. Well, I would always skip Shippuden, but thankfully that's not on the block anymore.
What?
But
how dare you? How dare you? It's my favorite.
Okay, look. I'll be fair here. My problem is that this was my second time watching Shippuden, and so it was basically like seeing the cracks in the armor again on a weekly basis. But anyway, so yeah, I'm in a very tiny minority that actually isn't bothered that neither Naruto or Sailor Moon have been integrated into the back end of the block because I basically ended up missing most of it. So to me, it's like I haven't watched either of the shows in a long time. So I don't mind that they're in the lineup. For everyone who did tune in for Toonami Rewind, yeah, this is a fucking horrible choice.
I mean, I don't necessarily think it's a horrible choice. Like the thing is, like I think it's a good thing because of that exact reason. I mean, I talked about it in the past when we were talking about Rewind, in that, you know, putting stuff on at 5 o'clock on a Friday when you're trying to target an audience that's generally going to remember the old Toonami, that doesn't really work because a lot of people work 9 to 5s. So
yeah, but I mean,
I've complained about that for a long time. But the thing
Should've
is,
been
yeah, but I
like
mean,
7 p.m. or
but I mean
something.
more in the sense of putting Sailor Moon at 3 a.m. Like, yeah,
Right,
that's
well,
just
I mean,
the death slot.
yeah, I mean, it's a bummer. Like, it's great for anybody who can see it, because at least it's somewhere. But yeah, I just, you know, I think it would have been better off, you know, somewhere earlier in the block. But at the end of the day, if you're replacing Rick and Morty the anime, I mean, you could replace it with the freaking test pattern color bars, and that would still be a better half hour.
Man,
You could put paint dry, and it would be better than Rick and Morty the anime.
Probably could air.
Tell us how you really
GXP, and it probably would be better.
But yeah, like so, yeah, like they announced Sailor Moon, but the also was that they're starting at episode 1, which pretty much confirms that they only have the first season. I'm kind of in the same camp with Silver, mainly because I was watching Sailor Moon on Rewind for a while, but the problem was the last few months Rewind was on, I was not watching, nor was I going to my DVR for 2 reasons. One, I just missed so much, and at the same time, they skipped Naruto Land of Waves.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I don't want to keep watching if I'm just missing, you know, a good chunk of stuff, which I'm hoping they play it this time.
Yeah.
Although I just find it funny, and Silver was there when this happened, but like that one night where they accidentally aired a standard definition cut from like 2012 of Naruto,
And it was glorious.
Can I just say, because I didn't watch Naruto on Cartoon Network, so I was half asleep, right? I'm barely keeping my eyes awake, and I hear the intro of like, here's Naruto up, and I'm like, okay, and then I just hear Rise on my TV, and I'm just like, I'm up. What's going on? What's this? What's on TV right now? And then I played like the American opening, and I'm like, am I awake right now?
I put it in the same camp of. It's similar to. It would be a similar feeling to if Toonami accidentally aired like an old episode of Dragon Ball Z with the Bruce Faulkner score, and they would put Rock the Dragon or something. It's just stupid.
But the thing is that like so I kind of stopped watching Rewind for a while. So like I was watching some Sailor Moon episodes at the time, but then I fell off. So I mean, like I'll probably see it again finally, you know, for real this time. And I mean that's really all I got for it. Normally this is where I go around the room and ask everyone else, but like Logan, Silver, and I guess Sam mentioned. But Phantom, how do you feel about Sailor Moon coming on? Like at 3 a.m.
What more do I need to say that I said about it when it was on Rewind? I mean, I'm just, it's nice it's on there. I just don't stay up that late.
You're good.
Sounds like a skill issue.
Perhaps.
Kuro, how you feeling about Sailor Moon coming on at 3
I mean,
a.m.?
I love that it's back on the block. I think that had this been planned better, it could have been a harder hitting comeback. I don't like the 3 a.m. slot at all. I think it should be on at least 2 a.m. or earlier. I don't think 3 a.m. is the right place for it. I also feel like airing season 1 and then not making any effort to acquire the rest of the season is a little bit of a bait and switch. I at this point, I'm not optimistic that they're going to air the rest of the seasons. Like,
Well, no, they're not.
yeah, and then it's like, well, then why? Why would you even put it? Like, I don't understand.
Well, I mean, you got to think about it this way: is that they acquired it specifically for Rewind. They thought of Rewind as an experiment, trying something out. If it worked out, they would continue getting more. But it's obvious
Sure.
that it didn't turn out well for them, and
They're trying to get the most bang for their buck, but they're just. I mean, this is a larger conversation about schedule issues in general for this new schedule. I'll just say that, like, I like it on there. I want it earlier. I think that with better schedule management, it could be a really great addition. It's just not as well marketed as it needs to be, and a lot of other additional schedule problems. But in general, like Sailor Moon kind of belongs on Toonami the way, you know, Naruto does, or Dragon Ball, as much as I hate it. I actually would rather see Sailor Moon earlier than Dragon Ball Kai. I don't give a shit about Kai. I'm sorry. I don't care.
Kai's aired so much, like Dragon Ball
Yeah.
in general. Has
I
aired
know.
So much that, like, having Sailor Moon would at least be something that feels, you know,
different.
But, different.
Yeah,
In
it was the last
I
time most
understand
people
why
watched
they
it.
air Dragon Ball so early, because they know people are going to stop and watch it.
True.
And for me, like, the last time I watched Sailor Moon was over a decade ago, at least, probably more. So it's really special to relive that. It's a really special series. It has special memories for me. So, like, it's great to have it in general on the block. It's just this timing is just lousy. It doesn't belong at 3 a.m. That's what I think.
I will say though, this is a weird silver lining, and it's mainly for me.
Oh, the irony.
because I was the guy who would do the schedules for Toonami Rewind in the squad, and well, I hate myself for even trying this, but basically, Sailor Moon is notorious for having this pink hue when it's not supposed to be there. So I actually took a bunch of screenshots from season 1 and then did my best to color correct them to
Interesting.
tone down the pink. And when Toonami Rewind ended, I went, oh, thank God I don't have to do it for season 2.
Hey, you know what?
I don't have to do it for season 2, thank God.
My coworker at Discotech, who was the one who was like, no, this is all just nostalgia, like, you guys don't know what you're talking about, and got so much flack for it. He will appreciate your efforts for that.
I do hate I hate that I'm like a stickler for details, but like even I knew that that's not how Sailor Moon is supposed to look.
No, I think that's great. That's good that someone's doing it.
So I actually tried. It wasn't successful a lot of the times, because, well, when you've seen something in a certain color tone for so long, well, it's kind of hard to, like, I would often, like, look real hard for the actual colors and try to get close to it. But, yeah, I'm slightly, only slightly thankful that season 2 didn't appear on Toonami Rewind, because I love the experiment, but I don't think I could have gone through with it for a second season.
The other disappointing thing about them not, doing more is, well, yeah, as far as I know, it's still streaming on Hulu, but, like, between the Blu-rays and Hulu, like, those were the only two places to watch it. So it's like, it's getting more eyes, especially on the new dub. I mean, I say new dub, but that dub's, 10 years old now? Like, they redubbed it in 2015 or something.
Yeah, but the Bleak dub is still...
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like getting the new dub, like getting new eyes on it. Because, to be honest, I have the Blu-rays, and I just haven't had time to sit down and watch any of them. So the thing was, it was great having it on TV because it was a lot easier to carve out half an hour to watch an episode when it was on TV, compared to trying to sit down and watch through like one disc a week or something. So it was a nice way to get to finally experience the quote unquote new dub. So that's another disappointing thing, but that all goes back to the same argument that we've all been making with Crunchyroll for years. Is it's like how is it a bad thing to get more eyes on your product by putting it on Toonami? So it's just yet again another situation of that where it's like this is great to get eyes on it, keep it going, but of course that also falls on Viz to offer it up for a price that's reasonable, and maybe they're asking.
Don't assume that Viz is the culprit here. I am firmly now of the belief that whoever's running the checkbook over at the Cartoon Network Adult Swim division of Warner Brothers Studio is
I agree.
Doesn't give a shit and doesn't understand at all how any of this works. This is I don't think I would be willing to bet that Viz would negotiate. It's they're not losing anything by having more visibility on the show, and they'd be making money. So
I mean, I'm willing to play a little devil's advocate. Is that this is all still a business? They all still need to make some type of deal where everyone's happy, right? This isn't just Viz. This is also Toei with Sailor Moon. They also need to get things approved from Toei. Toei is also a part of negotiations, likely with Adult Swim for every show that they have.
And I can tell you from personal experience that negotiating with Toei Animation is an absolute fucking nightmare. Like, I have personal experience with that. Trust me, it's a bitch.
Which is ironic, since it seems like Toonami has a direct line with Toei. So
they do, and they seem to have a good relationship with them.
Yeah.
Which makes me further question why they don't have Daimo, but that's another topic.
Yes, we'll get there. But I think it's a good segue to talk about what is on. Sorry.
No, just to close out with Sailor Moon talk, it's just I think it's nice that they decided to put it on the block, just to get the most out of it. It's obvious that at this point they're just kind of we're just going to wait this out until our contracts are over with the show, and then when it's over, we'll just kind of get rid of it. That's basically it at this point. It's just getting through whatever we have.
If anything, this just gives me a perfect excuse to put Sailor Moon in anything I may like. Oh, it's the 20th anniversary when Toonami came back. Oh, look, I can finally put Sailor Moon. I finally have an excuse.
What was I going to say? I guess anyone else have anything to say on Sailor Moon before we move on?
It should be earlier.
It should, honestly, considering
move
events.
TVZ Kai to 3, move Sailor Moon to 2:30, and have Naruto on at 2. Why not?
I mean, in my opinion, considering recent events, I feel like they should put it at midnight, but we'll get there. At the very least, for a while.
Midnight is wishful thinking, man. I want it higher, but that's not.
The earliest that it would make sense would be 1:30, and then they would have to push One Piece down.
Or at the very least, give it a marathon for one weekend.
I don't know that.
How about no? Do you realize the nightmare that it is to get usable official assets for a show that was made in the fucking 80s or 90s?
You know what? Now I want it to happen. Okay, make it happen.
Shut up.
And the movies. And the movies.
All right.
No.
So I guess we should move on now. So we recently had another show come and go, and this one was weird because we were talking okay, so because there's 2 seasons of Mashal, are they gonna move right into season 2, or are they just gonna stop at season 1 and air 2 later? And turns out they stopped at season 1. But yes, Mashal Magic and Muscles season 1 aired, and yeah, I guess just our thoughts about it. I mean, I gotta rewatch it honestly because like when it's airing on Toonami, it's kind of hard for me to pay attention when I'm like focusing on grabbing footage of like any promo or game review that they air in the middle. But at the same time too, I was paying attention somewhat, and I'm just like most of my time was laughing my ass off because it was just like you just put Saitama in the world of Harry Potter. That's literally
Yes, and we're here for it. Absolutely here for it.
It was just amazing, especially in those last few episodes where you got these bad guys giving their monologue, and then there he is just picking his nose like, wait, I'm sorry, what'd you say? It's just like, here's my
He's
most
got a teenager's
powerful...
brain.
It's like, here's my
basically
most
it's just, can I start punching now?
It's like, here's my most powerful spell. Can you dodge this? And just freaking slaps it away. It's like so good. And one, like I said this in the last podcast, but like there were two moments that had me absolutely dying. One was like when he's fighting Lance, and then he's like, you're a lolicon. I gotta call the police, man. He's like, excuse me. He's like, excuse me. No. I have a sister complex. It's like that's not
better.
And I just find it
entree in this show.
And once again, I'm like, if I had a nickel for every time an anime set in a magic world had a siscon character, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird it happened twice. because of what's his name from Black Clover.
Yeah.
Freaking I forget what was the other one. It was
Gray?
it was the freaking no, I'm talking about like what was the other moment in Mashal that had me dying, because it's been a minute. I don't have it at the top of my head, so brain fart on that one.
There's a lot of funny
and everything.
moments.
It's like I got cream puffs and OJ, let's party. It's just oh yeah, and then them going yay. It's just like all like,
for like 3 minutes. Yay!
Yay!
I mean, like overall, I guess my thoughts on it is that like I enjoyed it. I loved it a lot. It was a fun time, and yeah, I would love to see season 2. Which I always hear that the opening to season 2 is like an absolute banger, and I was withholding seeing it until we got to season 2. But then it came on my YouTube feed at one point, and I was like, oh, let me check it out. And it's on my playlist, by the way. Like that, like Jesus Christ, like Creepy Nuts. That's the artist. They don't miss.
The soundtrack, even for one, is pretty banging though. Like the hip hop mix that comes in every time there's a quote unquote fight scene is actually pretty fun. It's got style.
Oh, I just remembered the other moment that had me laughing. It was him in the knockoff Quidditch game. He's like, okay, it's like time to win the game, and then he literally just starts flapping his legs, to fly, and then he just wins the entire game within the last 3 minutes.
He just keeps throwing a curveball
Over and over. It's like a boomerang. I honestly thought, I didn't think he was going to be able to sustain the leg flap. I really thought that he would just keep jumping up and down, and everyone would be like, what the hell is he doing? Like, I really thought that would be how the episode would go. So the leg flapping bit was pretty amusing. It was good stuff.
Yeah, and I guess just like the end of the season, I was not expecting this. Because the gang's like, oh, he can't use magic. We better keep this a secret from him. And then someone hears, he can't use magic? Look, guys, this guy can't use magic. And that's how the season ends. It's like, okay, so I guess everyone knows the secret now. Can't wait to see how this goes into season 2. But overall,
tattletale. I'm gonna tell a teacher. Get out of here. Sorry.
Nobody likes a snitch.
A big fat phony.
Snitches get
He convinces everyone to not tell by just offering cream puffs. That's it.
But yeah, I guess those are my thoughts on Mashal. Phantom, I know you saw Mashal. How do you feel on it?
It's one of the more hilarious shows I've watched in a while. I enjoy. It's really fun. Short and sweet.
All right. Logan, did you see Mashal?
I haven't finished it. I'm about halfway through or so, and then work caught up with me, so I haven't been able to finish it. What I have watched, I've enjoyed. To be honest, what's been really nice to see is the voice cast has been big on posting, like when it's on, the day after, that kind of thing. Which I don't know. It feels like it's been a while since we've had an engaged voice cast that's paid attention to something on Toonami, which is kind of nice because that helps, and so like that's been nice to see. But yeah, I mean, I like it. It's always nice to have a show that's got like some action and comedy like mixed. It's a good fit, and I hope they end up bringing in season 2 at some point because I mean there's another 12 episodes for it, so.
Yeah, another 12 weeks that they desperately need. Silver, how do you feel on Mashal season 1?
It was a fun, needed show on the block. I have not seen the final episode because, I'm not in Chicago right now.
Oh God, I
so
forgot,
it's waiting
I'm
on.
sorry, I spoiled.
Nah, don't worry. It was just vague enough for me to not actually get it. So, but okay, let me put it like this. The show is so dumb so far that I don't. Even if you spoil it, I'm not gonna think like it's a huge spoiler because it feels like the entire show is just. It's not about the plot. It's about the funny. And I feel like we've been needing that for a while on the block. so that's been fun. I will say that the later episodes have been feeling a bit like whenever Mash is on screen, yeah, it goes right back to being funny. But whenever he's not on screen, I go like, it's fine.
I just keep calling what's his name Dot like knockoff Bakugo. That's literally he's just Bakugo from My Hero.
But he looks like
Lavi. Just a lot dumber.
Yeah.
He looks like Lavi from D Gray Man, but he's not as cool. Big hammer, little hammer.
Yeah, it's just Bakugo if he got held back a few years in school. Look. I'm not saying he's an idiot, but
he's an idiot.
No, he just he could use some help sometimes, just a bit.
He just needs a girlfriend.
I mean, if anything, the only character I guess that I'm just kind of I don't want to say disappointed, but I'm like, you could do a little more is what's his name, Finn. Like, because he really doesn't do anything. Like, I thought
I would kind of say Lemon, dude.
Oh, Lemon. God. Yeah. Also, I guess I'm more harsh on Finn just because I love any moment Lemon's on screen because she's just like, marry me, Mash.
Yeah, but
I was just like, sorry, you were saying.
No, I would argue that Finn is the worst case. Because Lemon is a one-note gag, but at least it's something. Technically, she did do something in an early episode, and it's only been that one thing. Yep. But Finn legitimately... I feel like Finn appeared, and that's it. He got beat up, and after that, that's literally it. At least the girl, like... They made her lure Mash into a trap. Finn just appeared, and that's been basically it. He appeared, got beat up, the end.
I
He's
just-
Yeah, well, maybe Finn will be redeemed in season 2. Who knows?
I was gonna say because
I
I thought he
hope.
would have done. I thought he would have done something when they were going to rescue Lemon. Like they put him and Dot next to this, next paired up to fight this girl, and I'm like, okay, maybe they'll do some tag team thing. No, it's just Dot doing all the heavy lifting. But you just reminded me there was another moment that had me on the floor when freaking what's her name? That one girl that tried swooning
Love.
Dot.
Love. That's her
Yeah.
name.
I'm thinking of the gray-haired girl, like in the early
not the
episode with
pink
Dot's.
one. Okay.
No, not the pink one. There's like the gray-haired girl, like she's trying to get close to Dot, and she because apparently she's trying to manipulate him. He's like, "Why are you not looking at me? I'm a cute girl, damn it!" But the funniest thing came after Mash beats up that guy. I don't know his name, but the guy that was throwing diamonds at him. He beats him up, and then this girl's trying to like plead with Mash. No, he was just making me do all that stuff, and then he's like, "It's okay." Freaking suplexes her.
Smashes her head into the ground. It's amazing.
And I'm just like, Mash said, equal rights, equal fights.
He doesn't discriminate. I love that.
You were saying, Silver?
Equal treatment to all. That's all I can add.
The hammer of justice is unisex.
He did that to
All right.
herself.
Sam, how do you feel on Mashal season 1?
It's cute. I'll be completely honest, I didn't really care for this show all too much. It's fine. That's fine. I think my problem with it is that for a show that's a mashup between Harry Potter, One Punch Man, and Shonen Jump tropes, I feel like it's more of an homage than it is a parody. I don't really get a whole lot of laughs out of the show. It does have some decent jokes in here and there, but for the most part, I kind of sat at my screen blankly looking at it, going, okay. And then that's basically my experience watching both seasons back to back.
At least we can all agree it's better than Rick and Morty the anime.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Low bar to clear.
I think
Oh, yeah.
another problem I had with the show is that some of the jokes are just so predictable. The final joke, which I'm not going to spoil here, but you know the one that happens at the last episode of season 1, where that one character comes in. You know what I'm talking about, Sam, too? The villain?
Yeah.
I was like, I know the joke. Come on, let's go. And then, yeah, I pretty much predicted that joke.
Alright, Kuro, what are your thoughts on Mashal season 1?
It's a lot of fun. It's a great fit for the block, given the mix of humor and action. I think that it's a show that doesn't take itself seriously. It seems to make fun of itself. It's just barely walking the line of breaking the fourth wall, which it's fun if the audience is in on the joke. I found that I enjoyed it more when I was watching with others, like whether online, you know, or just talking about it with others. Like that seemed to be more enjoyable to me than just me alone with my laptop watching it. It's definitely something that invites an audience into it, an audience that kind of gets the references, you know, certainly the Saitama bit, you know, where he's pretty impervious to magic and he just kind of swats it aside. It's very amusing because they have these long scenes where you have these really intense fights between the magic users, and they're all like talking about their deep dark childhoods and how they hate people can't use magic, blah blah blah. And then Mash walks in there and he's like, what? He just doesn't care. Like they're all into this whole building on a corrupt society, and they wax poetic about it, and it's all kind of nonsense, you know, as soon as they come up against this non-magic user, and and it really, I feel like I think that it knows that it's not taking itself seriously, and you're the audience, you're in on the joke, which I appreciate. And I thought the animation style was fun, the way it kind of flips between the simplistic like look that you would see where Mash has the kind of dumb face, or just more broken down animation scenes, to like with the standard it had, and it flowed pretty well. The music was banging, love the music, and I don't see any reason why they shouldn't air season 2. I noticed online it was overwhelmingly received positively. People seem to really enjoy watching it online. They seem to enjoy engaging and talking about it on social media, and I think that's good. I mean, it was one of the only things, really, one of the few things that the block even had going for it. So I mean, there's no reason why they wouldn't get season 2. Knowing the way they've been working, I wouldn't be surprised if they are going to get it, but it's just going to take a little while. Like, they like to push these things out as long as possible and as cheaply as possible. So, you know, the bare minimal effort to keep it going these days. But I think we will see season 2, and I'm looking forward to just seeing where the story goes. Just for shits and giggles, man. Like, and a banging soundtrack, you know. I'm here for the laughs that I needed. I needed these laughs, and I needed that lightheartedness for sure. So yeah, pretty positive. I give it like a 7 or 8. It's hard to go high with a show like this because it's not profound, and I tend to weight shows that are more profound higher. But I'd give it a pretty high rating for enjoyable factor and for the rewatchable factor.
Yeah, I don't really know if I could rank this. I mean, like, yeah, I'd probably say like 7 for me.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard depending on how you rank shows, you know.
But yeah, I mean, like, anyone else have anything to say on Mashal before we move on?
I'm sorry that you ended up having to make a finale
Oh yeah, that
thumbnail for the show.
because like we're left wondering, are they gonna continue to season 2? Are they gonna end at season 1? Because if they end at season 1, we need to cook a finale thumb, and we didn't find out until the week before. And then I'm like, hey Silver, you gotta make a finale, and you're like, nah bitch, I'm on a cruise.
I got better
I'm
things
going
to do.
on a cruise.
So now like you're doing the season 2, like when they eventually do season 2.
No, definitely. I'll be doing season 2. I just want to take the opportunity to say, sorry, man.
That's fine. I was able to whip
blame my optimism. Blame my optimism. I thought maybe they got season 2.
Okay. Well, I guess moving into the next topic. So I think I mentioned this before, that whenever I make topics for our podcast, I try to keep them within the realm of Toonami stuff, Toonami related, Toonami adjacent, things like that. Only very few do I feel like they're kind of big enough topics. Well, I don't know about big enough, but like, you know, interesting topics to put in these, so I found this funny because I want to bring up that a few months ago in our Discord, and I think I posted on Twitter too, that we saw the strangest thing. The official English Twitter account for the Fate Stay series posted, Fate Stay Night is coming to cable TV. They didn't say where, they just said cable TV. And a lot of us were like, hello? What channel airs anime on cable TV? We're like, are we actually gonna get Fate Stay Night on Toonami? We're like, holy shit.
Which,
and then the week
to be
after,
fair, that would have been a hell of a well to dive into. Like, easily would cover a slot for a while, but nah.
So yeah, and then the next week, someone posted a picture. I guess they were at some like convention or whatever, and I guess they were advertising the Fate thing, and it said, "Watch Fate Stay Night on the anime.com hour on Access TV." We're like, what? What is Access? First off, everyone's like, what is Access TV?
That's what I wanted to know.
And we're just like, the biggest freaking blue balled moment ever, because it's like, what other channel airs anime? Not here comes this other channel that all of a sudden is airing this anime, and then that's all we knew for the longest time. But then a few weeks ago, they started doing some. I don't want to say they were doing more promotion, because they did the bare minimum of a promotion.
They decided to start.
Yeah, they decided to start. So essentially, they so there was a date for Fate coming on TV, and then as that date got closer, they announced this quote unquote block. It's only an hour long, but it called anime.com hour, which sadly has origins in the freaking crypto market, which disgusting.
Yeah, so instead of calling it the anime.com hour, just call it NF Toonami.
No, I refuse.
This is all a scam just waiting to happen.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was gonna say Toonami has competition, but at the same time, I don't. But first off, this channel Access TV is like doesn't exist on like over half of the TV platforms, because the way I watched this was my dad has a subscription to an IPTV service, which is one of those on internet TV things that gives you like a million channels. So I asked for his login just to look at this, because I use YouTube TV, but I not on there. That's how I was able to watch this. But what's even crazier was Fate is not the only anime on this thing, because you want to know the other anime they brought onto this? My Hero Academia, which, season 1 and 2 specifically, which I'm just thinking to myself, is this why we don't have season 7? And then I'm also thinking to myself, and then I'm also thinking to myself, dear God, if Crunchyroll decides to back this one up, I'm going to be so mad. So essentially, I have a theory
on why My Hero Academia isn't really on the block. I think that Toho basically reclaimed the rights to My Hero Academia, and I'm guessing that made Toonami's contract like just run into a concrete wall, and just like, well, Crunchyroll can stream it, but now Toho's handling it, so talk to them.
I was gonna say, if that's the case, you would see My Hero on like, well, I would say Netflix, but they do have it on Netflix, but it's only up to season 4.
Yeah, but it's possible Crunchyroll just has exclusivity on streaming.
Yeah,
but that's simply it.
Yeah.
But,
so a sense. Oh, sorry, you were saying?
No, nothing. It's just that honestly, the anime.com hour block, it's not competition. It's nothing. If anything, it's just an annoyance, because now there's someone grabbing TV broadcast rights that could frankly go to a better network than whatever the hell they are.
It's the same kind of thing that we saw.
We bitch about Toonami a lot, but at least they aren't shilling for cryptocurrency. So
yeah.
and the thing is, it's
like,
the same
things are bad, but we're not that low yet.
It's the same kind of thing that we saw back in the day, though. Like when Tech TV suddenly was like, "Oh, hey, let's do an anime block," and then Sci-Fi Network was like, "Let's do an anime block." And everybody else, granted, I won't say everybody else. It was good, yeah. Admittedly, it was, but both of them ended up grabbing some good shows. Yeah. But the thing is, like, at a certain point, other networks are going to look at something and go, "What can we get that might grab us some market share?" And the thing is, especially with okay, they grabbed My Hero Academia. They probably got it fairly cheap, all things considered, because it's not new. And Fate's not new, but it's also, I mean, it's the kind of franchise that if we tried to do a podcast explaining it to the masses, it would be a 35-hour podcast, and everybody would come away understanding nothing more than what they started with. Like, so that's the thing, is like neither of the shows, like, okay, yeah, Fate would have probably been a good grab for Toonami if they'd gone after it, but at the same time, because it can get so complex, and because it's oh well, you have to watch this show, and then it branches in two different directions, and then you have to watch this show or this movie series. The problem is that's
why I quit.
This is getting more complicated
exactly
with
why I
Gundam
quit
timeline.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like that's not a good fit for a linear TV block. When it's like, oh, okay, we finished season 1. Okay, that's great. Okay, now what do we air? Oh, well, there's the movies, or we got to do this, and we got to do that, and you just confuse your audience, and then then you lose viewers, and that's the last thing you want.
Yeah, but I mean more in the sense that if they decide to grab more stuff from Aniplex, things that Toonami could actually air, like, I don't know, like the Nier Automata anime, or like, not just Fate. Like, Fate is so convoluted that, frankly, too bad it's not on the block. I'm not gonna cry over it. You guys can have it. You wanna grab like 2 seasons of My Hero Academia? Yeah, sure. But it like, again, it's less of a rival and more of an annoyance if they decide to grab shows that Toonami could actually get. But
it's just like, whatever, man. Like, this is just another. It's like anime. What was it? Chiller Wednesdays. There was a anime block on Chiller where they aired a bunch of really middling of the road anime, and that didn't last too long because nobody cared to watch it. It was literally the type of block that they didn't advertise, which this block is also not getting any advertising. The casual person outside of our sphere has never heard of this channel, nor has ever heard of this block.
Yeah.
Like, this just reminds me so much of like what Chiller was doing in 2015, where they're like, yeah, we'll air some anime, why not? And then they kind of came to the realization, oh, we have to actually market this stuff, and it actually needs to be, viable. And it's like, nobody can make that work anymore on linear cable because everyone who wants to watch anime goes to streaming. The reason Toonami is around is because we come for the experience along with the show.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And that's the thing, is that they've spent 25 years building what Toonami is as a product. So it's like, yeah, exactly. You can't you can't just launch a block and just be like, here's some anime, watch it. Like, that's never gonna last, because like you said, why can't I just go and stream it? Like, I can go stream it. It's just as simple, and it's fine. Like,
if I want to watch a Fate show, I could watch Fate Zero. That's on Netflix. If I want to watch My Hero Academia, that's on Netflix. I can also watch a bunch of other shit on all these different major platforms and on niche platforms like Crunchyroll. Why do I need this block?
Right.
With Toonami, again, it is an experience. You come there because you want the experience.
Right.
You don't come there just for the shows.
Yeah, you want the music videos.
I will.
You want the speeches. You want the you want the stuff with Tom and Sarah. All that stuff. Like, all of that is it's the complete package that makes it worth watching. Because otherwise, because hell, let's face it, Adult Swim themselves had an anime block that was just a pretty humdrum, like, hey, here's some anime on Saturday nights. And granted, people still watched it, but
they got good shows on Adult Swim Action, but it wasn't the same experience that you get with Toonami, right? Like, even though, like, I get that there's some nostalgia for Adult Swim Action, they're never going to bring it back, because why would they? They have a much more popular brand with Toonami. That's been their brand since 2012.
Speaking of the Toonami brand, I do find it hilarious that one of the crypto guys basically said that, we want to make the anime.com our similar experience like Toonami, like back in the day.
Yeah,
remember those days? And I'm like, yeah, it was
claim right there.
Still on.
Yeah, and I'm like, Yeah, man, I remember those days last week, actually.
Like, it's just like the type of people who make that just kind of tells me like this is not a serious thing that's gonna last.
Well,
No.
And
No.
here's the biggest thing for me too is it ties back into what you're saying about how little they advertise it. Obviously we know how long Toonami's been back, and I remember seeing again when this just a bunch of stuff that's come up recently. Almost any time Toonami gets mentioned like broadly outside of like Anna Twitter, that kind of thing, is people are like, whoa, Toonami's around? Like, or I remember watching Toonami. I wish they'd bring that back. And it's like it's been back since freaking it's been back for over a decade. Like, it's around. But that itself speaks to, okay, Toonami is without a doubt the biggest anime or action cartoon block on television that exists at this point. And
In the U.S.
In the US.
Sure, but people are still like, oh wait, Toonami? Oh, I remember watching that. I wish they'd bring it back, or it's still around. Like, they don't know about it, and we're talking about Toonami. What hope is a little dinky block on a network that has maybe an eighth of the reach of Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, if we're being generous? What chance do they have? Like, they have no packaging, they're doing no advertising. Nobody's gonna notice this thing.
Yeah,
No, they have no chance.
This thing is not long for this world because it's not competition. Because ultimately, I don't care about this block because the shows they're airing, I can get elsewhere. Why do I want to go here? What is your appeal? Why should I go out of my way for you? That's all these things where most casual people who just watch television and get marketed to through commercials and stuff, they won't know this exists. They won't know this channel exists. These shows, they'll air whatever they have, or maybe they'll just get rid of it within a few weeks. I don't know. But it's not something that's going to be viable for the long-term future.
No, I just think it'll be how to put it. When I say an annoyance, it's not that it's annoying because it exists, but because there's just gonna be a random channel that even after it flops, if it turns out that they ended up grabbing like a few shows that Toonami might have been interested, well, the rights are tied there for a good long while, similar to like what happened with Naruto Shippuden, where Toonami wanted it, and then they realized, oh shit, Disney XD has it. So they waited out until, finally the rights are available. Let's grab them. But that's really it. That's the annoyance. I mean,
the funny thing is,
like a mosquito that
more households than this channel, which is a fuck all channel that doesn't even show anything of worthwhile.
We're talking about there's Hell's Kitchen and Hell's Kitchen.
I love Hell's Kitchen.
And TNS,
yeah, but that's literally it.
and TNS Wrestling and a bunch of music videos. So, like, I want to explain that. I don't know if you guys, if anyone here.
Oh, so it's MTV, but worse. Well, old MTV, but worse.
So
bad, I guess.
So I actually did decide to check this out, and I don't know if anyone else has, but it starts out with like this basic like animated intro, which was posted on Twitter by that guy in that same post with like, do you remember watching Toonami? So it starts out with that same intro, and then it just dives right into Fate, and then there is quote unquote packaging, but it's like minimal. Like, we'll be back with Fate, now back to Fate. And that's literally it. But here's what had me laughing and angry the most was when the first episode of Fate ended and the credits started rolling. They squeezed them. They freaking which I'm just like considering, because My Hero is going to be coming up soon. I am very curious to see how they do that since that aired on Toonami. So I'm curious to see the differences on how both channels handle that. But they squeezed them, and then they had this animated ID, which a lot of people say looks like it's been AI generated.
I just want to make a comment about that one bumper or whatever they call it, the comment about remember Toonami. See, the thing that they don't understand is people who are watching anime on cable at all, or any action animation, anything, they're fine with watching more than one. This audience has probably watched some chiller, and they probably watched the sci-fi anime block. So like, they wouldn't see this as something taking away from them. But then you go and kind of throw it in their face. Like, I don't know if he made that comment out of naivete that the block was still airing, or he was trying to be disrespectful. But like, don't alienate your primary audience and say like, oh, remember this is what we have is better, we're gonna bring that back. It's like, this is the same audience, they might watch it anyway, so don't be disrespectful to something that they are nostalgic about to the point that they're still engaged in it. Like, that's just not a good message. That's a really bad marketing.
And to also like bring this up is
that's a good point, though.
It's only an hour block every week, and they switch out shows every week, which is so dumb. Like, if you're having a block, most people want consistency with their schedule.
Well,
you know,
I think
we can bitch all we want about this Toonami schedule, but it is consistent. You get on there, you know what's coming, you know the shows, the lineup, they barely change it. There you go. Consistency all the way.
It's the only way to stretch out the license. If they do 2-hour blocks, they'll run out of the episodes too fast.
Well, the other thing I was gonna say, because like I find the timing a little funny, because like, so it airs twice in a week, but the second one's an encore. So like, Thursday at 10 p.m. is the launch of this, which I was there for. They aired TNA Wrestling, and then the wrestling ended, and then Here Comes Fate. Which, speaking of, you wouldn't know a channel like this airs anime, because the ads and all the stuff for this channel are either Hell's Kitchen, rock concerts, country music, or freaking music videos. Like, Axis TV for all your music needs, literally, that plays during break. And then yeah, so it's like Thursdays at 10 p.m., but then they encore it Saturdays at midnight, which I find that a little funny. I don't know if they know that that's when Toonami starts, or if that's just massive coincidence.
Honestly, I think this is a case where I think they basically did something similar to what Crunchyroll did in Latin America, where they just bought the space, made a deal to use the Toonami branding, and then just use that. Like, they just bought the space to air the programming. The problem is that, okay, so you bought a 1-hour block to air anime on a channel with country music, concerts, TNA Wrestling, and Hell's Kitchen.
Grab bag of shows, dude. Like,
hey, I like
a lot about Cartoon Network these days.
No, that's fine. It's just like a weird mashup.
Because you want to watch cartoons. That's why it works.
Well, the thing is, like, you know, I won't necessarily knock them for only making their block an hour, because I mean, let's be realistic. When Toonami came back, they weren't playing a whole lot of Risk. They only,
they acquired like 2 shows at the beginning.
Yeah,
it was all Adult Swim action carryovers, and they were like 3 hours long, I think, or something like that. But again, like, they were 3 hours long, and they got away with that because they had shows in their backlog that they could just rerun, that they still had the rights to.
Well, but I mean, even like when it first came back, I'm pretty sure it was only an hour, because it was like Bleach and Dead Man Wonderland, and that was it. Like,
no, it was Bleach, Dead Man Wonderland,
and Catherine Sins.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that takes me
fine.
back.
So, but point is, okay, hour and a half. So they got 2 new shows and one.
No, because I think they also
anyway.
reran Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood
They did.
alongside Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex and Cowboy Bebop.
I think what it was that because didn't they used to end at like at 6 a.m.?
Yeah, they ended at like 3 a.m. and then they restarted
then they would
the block
rerun
again.
it.
Okay, yeah, okay, fair. Yeah, I'm looking at the wiki and okay, yeah. But still, regardless, okay, how many of those shows do they already like currently have licensed?
Oh,
or were able to get?
I mean,
so
they own
cheap?
Ghost in the. Well, they have some ownership over Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. They had the
Right.
license to Cowboy Bebop and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Because the other thing
And
to
Bleach was
remember
already
is-
running on Adult Swim Action and all that stuff. So they really
Yeah.
only acquired 2 new shows, which, to be fair, I understand why. Because in 2012 they got rebooted, and it was basically they had no money.
Well, and so that's the thing is it's like, most of the shows they had were either stuff that they just had long-term rights to, because I mean, hell, at that point, I'm pretty sure in 2012 Bandai Entertainment hadn't completely folded yet, so everything they had on that. In fact, no, I know they hadn't, because they partnered with Toonami for the April Fool's block. That's why they did the whole we'll show a DVD ad and we'll let you air an episode. And
I think they
so
closed
that's the thing,
sometime
is
in late 2012, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is okay, I understand why Axis would start out with let's just grab 2 shows that are probably relatively low risk, because if this doesn't work out, then at least we only blew money on 2 shows instead of a dozen.
Yeah.
It's just weird that they say basically rotate the shows on a single hour
I don't
block.
mind it being an hour. Let me rephrase it. I don't mind it being an hour. The whole rotating shows in and out, that's annoying and confuses your audience very quickly. Wait, I thought watching Fate was one week. Why is it My Hero Academia this week?
So I think it's
Screw you. That's why.
The first two episodes of Fate are an hour long, from what I hear. So I'm thinking that maybe that's why. But yet again, I could be wrong. Maybe when they get to the 3rd episode of Fate, where they're down to half an hour, maybe it's Fate and My Hero, or it could just be 2 episodes of Fate, 2 episodes of My Hero. Who knows? My real question is, okay, this thing exists now, but what's it gonna look like, say, a month from now? Is it still gonna be the same Fate and My Hero, or are they gonna change stuff up? Or I guess my question is, will it last longer or shorter than Rewind?
Will it last longer than Schiller's block? That's the real question.
Last longer than that, because expectations of television these days are so goddamn low. But I mean, even for this channel, I don't expect this to last the rest of the year. It'll probably be gone before the summer hits.
But yeah, Phantom. I don't know if you have been looking at the block or that, or just do you have any thoughts on Axis TV having another anime block?
I have no interest in it whatsoever. After I heard cryptocurrency, you lost me there.
That's completely fair.
That's the correct response.
I mean,
there we go.
Cryptocurrency's bad, so fuck it. I don't want to know.
Yeah. At the very least, I'm watching this via a non-legal method, so they're not getting money out of me. Kuro, I mean, because I was gonna go around the room, but we all just kind of jumped in. But Kuro, how do you feel on this whole situation?
I have to say I'm solidly ambivalent about it. I mean, on one hand, more anime blocks on cable television, great. Let's have more. Sci-fi, bring yours back. Love to see it. There's no reason why there shouldn't be more. To market them however you want to market them, but actually do so. Actually tell audiences, because I think those audiences are out there. If they know these things exist, they'll watch them. The anime has become a lot more mainstream accepted now, so it's definitely appealing to more people. I don't have any strong feelings about Fate in particular. I tried watching it a couple times, and I tried watching Unlimited Blade Works and then Zero, and it was just, I think it's too dark for where I'm at in life. It was too sad, and it lost appeal for me, but I definitely think there's an audience for it, however large or small it may be. The only thing that kind of skeeves me out a bit is the whole crypto part of it. It's just so off-putting. I can't help but feel like this is all a big setup for some kind of crypto scheme, and then you buy into it to get access to more or something. I don't know.
NFTs.
I see where this is going, and it is weird, but I mean, at the same time, they must have had some capital to be able to get to buy any of these shows. So whatever, good for them, I guess.
Reading into it, sorry to cut you off. I think they made some sort of deal with Aniplex way back on something, because I think Aniplex was wanting to get in on that crap, and I guess they made some sort of deal on Fate. For My Hero, I have no idea. But sorry to cut you off. You were saying?
No, it's okay. I again, I don't want people to feel shamed for watching it. It's your television experience. Watch what you're gonna watch. Just be cautious
agreed.
about the crypto thing. For sure, that would be my warning. But again, like, I don't really feel like this is in any way some kind of counter or anything to Toonami, because it's just it doesn't have a nice packaging. It doesn't have the brand power. It doesn't have the community. It doesn't have the host. You know, even Annie Mondays, which then became Annie Thursdays on Sci-Fi, had better packaging. Like, they did a nice job of kind of stringing their thing together with a kind of theme. So maybe because their budget's short, I don't know. But I just don't care. That's the TLDR of it. I just don't care. Sorry.
I'm with you.
It exists.
Yeah,
it
okay.
exists.
Great. What's for dinner? Where's my cocktail? I don't know. Anything.
I mean, like I said, I just found it like interesting enough to talk about it. That's why I wanted to bring it on. But it was just like, and I saw the first airing just because I was morbidly curious, and I haven't seen Fate before. It's funny because but when it was airing, I was asking the guys in Discord, "Hey, what's Fate about?" And everyone just said yes.
Yes, yeah. But how about this? If you want to learn about Fate, go watch Kike's video on it. It does a great job explaining it.
It's depression in a sandwich. I wouldn't recommend it personally unless that's your deal.
But if you really want a serious answer, we would be here all night trying to explain the Fate timeline.
So funny.
And I'm just like probably gonna check out the second airing because that's when they got My Hero, and I'm just curious on how My Hero is gonna air because, like I said, that aired on Toonami, so I'm just gonna be nitpicking the differences on what they do for that. And then I guess that's it. Anyone else have anything to say on this before we move on?
I mean, I don't necessarily want to wish them failure. I'm not that person. I don't want the message to come out that, I guess, anime doesn't do well. But I think the fact that I just don't know what their bottom line is here that makes me really like, I don't know.
I think that's my thing with the whole block. It's great that there's more anime on cable TV. It's just it feels sort of pointless with the way they're doing it. That's basically it. Because if it was at least like a consistent schedule of 2 shows, okay, maybe I could tune in. But it just so far it's not even that. So it feels like it's even too early to say, oh, it's fine, or no, it's bad, or no, it's just this.
Yeah, too early to say.
It's there.
Response.
Yeah.
If
they keep the same schedule structure where it's one in a single week they air one single show, and the next week they
don't know
another show. How about no?
Yeah.
But that's it. It exists. That's basically it.
I mean, I guess my only concern with this is that I swear to God, if we start seeing Crunchyroll back this up, and this block is all of a sudden getting shows that we've been begging for, like Chainsaw,
I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
Family,
Oh man, Jujutsu
all that.
Kaisen everywhere but
Shut
Toonami.
the fuck up.
I didn't even make the joke this time.
Mel has
This is a great
frozen
day.
Okay, moving on. Last topic of the night, and oh boy, it's speaking of depression sandwich.
God,
So, it's funny, right? Because like a while back, because I remember around 2023-ish, when we kept getting disappointing schedule updates, I like 2 podcasts in a row, I would put that as a topic, but then I was like, let me not, because it's like we're just going to be repeating the same stuff. But then when that recent schedule update, not like for January happened, I'm like, okay, this is too depressing that we need to talk about it. And then at the time, I'm thinking, well, this is probably the worst it's going to get.
Look. I mean, we might as well call Tom and Sarah the Sultans of Swing because the schedule is in dire straits.
Oh, wow.
I'm
It's
once again in the
disrespectful.
minority here.
It's a disrespectful schedule. That's what I feel.
So I remember the day, like, because it's funny, because at this point we're conditioned to getting news updates on Fridays, because Fridays seem to be the days where we get news updates, and they typically tend to be like a week or two before a show is gonna end. So I literally got up on Fridays, like, "Hey guys,
Fridays always when they drop bad news."
Yeah, I was literally like, "Are we ready for some disappointing news today?" And it was like, "Did they announce it?" I was like, "No, not yet." But I expect it'll be disappointing. And then, literally, I was like, "So what happened after Mashal season 1 ended? Guess what's coming back at midnight? The show everyone asks for, Fooly Cooly Grunge, is starting the block at midnight. We get 2 episodes of Blue Exorcist because I guess they're gonna speed that up. Invincible
Despite the
Fight Girl
fact that they
rerun
still-
taking."
Yeah, despite the fact they had like a few episodes left of Invincible Fight Girl, they just decided, we'll just kill it. Just kill it. Let's just sleep it
So-
out of the world.
So 12:31 is Blue Exorcist, 1:30 is One Piece, and then Kai, Naruto, and Sailor Moon, which literally leaves One Piece as the only premiering show on the block. When
That's why it's
news
called
broke out-
One Piece. It's the one piece of the schedule that's still new.
Yeah.
when that update came out, I was just like, "Oh my, how
not good.
like what the hell?" Oh, but let's not forget, and I'm so glad that, because we were already, I'm thinking to myself, this can't get any worse. Hey guys, guess what's going back to episode 1? It's starting in March. DBZ Kai, because they didn't get all the episodes, so Goku's gonna turn Super Saiyan, and then we're gonna go back to Raditz.
Just like old times.
Nah, it's a missed opportunity. They should have done it when the Ginyu Force was landing. Then it would have been perfect.
Yeah, but I think it also happened with Super Saiyan where he finally, during the times where they would rerun DBZ, where he would finally turn Super Saiyan, and then they would loop back way earlier in the Namek saga.
I literally just felt like I had an aneurysm when I saw that schedule, because I'm just like, because I think at the time too, we didn't talk about this last time because we didn't know, but Lazarus has a projected time release of April. So we're like, oh, okay, because we all thought, like, a good chunk of us thought February, just because they did Ninja Kamo in February. So I'm just thinking February. No, it's April. But I'm like, okay, so we have to have something. What's short enough between now and Lazarus? And nothing. Because, oh my god, it's clear at this point that they are just waiting for Lazarus to come out. Which I'm just saying right now, if you are making the block this bare for Lazarus, that show better fucking rock. Because if not, get the fuck out. Oh my god, like, with the number of Toonami originals that have sucked ass, I swear to god, if this fails, oh my god, like, but this freaking schedule, I told Kuro this a while back, but it's like, if I didn't have obligations because I record and I compile footage, this literally would have made me stop watching. I would have stopped watching at this point, because it is that fucking atrocious, and I am so like pathetic, absolutely pathetic. Who the fuck's in charge at this point? Because it is downright horrendous. And Logan, funny enough, like in our Discord, mentioned this is the real reason why Jason left. He saw this coming and he didn't want to get backlash for it, which, was a joke. But on one hand, I'm just like, I could definitely see that happening. I could definitely see that as a truth too, because it's like, first off, why grunge? You had season 1 right there. The Pillows recently just disbanded too. You could have easily reran season 1.
Stop you there.
and
That's
stayed in.
exactly. That's the problem. Is Crunchyroll has the rights
no.
to season 1.
No, it's Production IG. Production IG has the rights to Fooly Cooly.
But Crunchyroll has the license.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. It's Production ID. Anytime that they've ever reran Fooly Cooly, it is because they got the license directly from Production IG.
Where did you hear that?
From a bunch of people.
And I can tell you that's completely wrong. Funimation has the rights to the show. Well, Funimation did, which means Crunchyroll has it now.
I mean, I also just see that they have season 1 on the website still. I don't know if the website's different from TV or at the very least.
Streaming and broadcast.
Yeah, they might have different rights for streaming rights. Broadcast rights can always depend on the contract, so they could still have the streaming rights. Oh, Silver's gone.
Silver.
Regardless, they didn't have the option to air it. That's what it comes down to.
Welcome back, Silver.
Regardless of who has it, they didn't have the option to air it.
But they
At
did
the
have
very
fully
least-
progressive, alternative, and shoegaze. They do have full ownership.
All better options.
Ownership of those.
All better
Thankfully,
options.
I have Thankfully, I actually have a solution to this. Every time grunge appears, I'm just gonna put my Blu-ray of Fooly Cooly season 1, and there, problem solved.
There you go.
But in all seriousness, this schedule is look. I'm of the mind that the reason the back end of the block is just One Piece, Dragon Ball, Naruto, and Sailor Moon is because they figured, wait, if we can just keep these 4 shows at the back end as just like the 4 legs on the chair, and we only have to worry about the front end, yeah, we could probably make this work because, well, we don't
That only
have
works
the same
if they
access
have all
to
the
shows.
episodes.
But let me finish, man.
They're not going to air everything. They're just going to air what they have.
Wait, hold on. Let Silver finish.
Let finish, man. Because you gotta think of it like, okay, clearly we don't have the same access to shows like we did 8 years ago. So three separate time slots will be way easier to maintain than worrying about 6 or 5. Okay, Sailor Moon is 50. Season 1 Sailor Moon is, I think, 51 episodes. That's 1 episode for every Saturday.
48? I think it was 48 episodes.
That's still enough because you got to take into account the marathons that happen throughout the year because holidays.
Yeah,
so
but I just don't
when you
think
take
they're
that
gonna
into
be
account,
doing a Memorial Day marathon or 4th of July marathon. I'll shut up. I'll let you finish. Sorry.
No, but that's still a good point. But the idea is that season 1 of Dragon Ball Z Kai, Naruto, and Sailor Moon have enough episodes where, if you take into account the holiday marathons, assuming they do make them, that's enough to actually cover most of the year for the back end, depending on when the licenses expire, because that's another thing that we have no idea. But if that's the idea, then it kind of makes sense why the back end is like that, and why I think it might stay like that again, depending on the licenses, because it's basically like a way to like keep the 4 legs on the chair, to keep the thing stable, and only worry about the first 3 time slots. That being said, bringing grunge does not inspire any confidence. But I can at least give them credit, and this is the only credit I could actually give them, because right now this lineup this is the most basic. It's not a horrible lineup in the sense that there's a lot of bad shows. It's a horrible lineup in the sense that this is the most basic possible lineup Toonami could possibly air.
It's very barren.
It's very barren, but it's the most basic, and at least you can say, okay, well, Blue Exorcist isn't new, but it's at least good. One Piece at least it's solid most of the time. Naruto, well, it's solid. Sailor Moon, old but solid. Dragon Ball Z Kai, old but solid. Like you get what I mean. Like at least you can say that when it comes to if the shows are bad or good, well, at least there's more good. That being said, holy shit, guys, dozens of shows and you chose grunge.
Yeah.
You could have heard the first 5 good episodes of Ninja Kamui, and that could have been it. You could have just gone with that.
I mean, if they wanted to like have the block run something short for 6 weeks, there are options for you to do that. Of course, you have the Fooly Cooly sequels at your hand, but it's like, why are you doing grunge? What is the point?
Right.
Is this just a stopgap show? Is this something that you're hoping that you have something inked in pen by early March? I don't think that's happening. It's just like, what the hell is going on over there? What are you guys doing?
I'm already calling
we
that it's
fucked up and didn't get season 2 of Mashal, so we're trying to buy time until we get season 2.
I get the impression that they just don't have a budget this year, and I'm just like, okay, fine. Well, I'm throwing in the towel for this year. I mean, hopefully, whatever they have for the rest of the year, like I'm sure they'll get 1 or 2 new things to fill up their lineup. But it's like, man, this reminds me so much of 2023's barren fucking wasteland of a lineup, because it's just like you're starting the block off with reruns, and you don't really have a whole lot of compelling reasons why I should tune in.
They really need to redo the rerun speech, because that is the perfect timing to do that. Because I literally, it's like I would have stopped watching at this point, because it's just like, I don't know, it's just, I see this and I get pissed off, because all this is just telling me right now, don't expect anything outside of originals this year. Maybe 1 pickup. That's about it. But I'm just
this year is going to be light in terms of original content. Like, what do they have this year? Like, we know Lazarus is this year. Primal will be out sometime in the summer. Is Rooster Fighter this year? I'm still kind of iffy on that one. I don't know what they have for the rest of the year for us to get really excited for. Last year was just that perfect storm where they had a bunch of stuff that they were sitting on and that they needed to get the hell out there. But this year, it's like, well, they don't have anything. They literally just do not have fucking shit. Like, and last year would have been fine just to rely on original content and then focus this year on just acquiring content. But whatever.
I like, and I'm also just like, there are options that if we don't have anything like that you guys have in your catalog, like freaking put Samurai Jack on there, put Ghost in the Shell on there. Do they still have Bebop?
No, they
don't have Bebop, man.
What happened to IGPX
I wish.
season 2?
IGPX, that too, and it's
they aired the season 1 remastered, and then they didn't for reasons that I still can't fathom that even Jose doesn't understand. They never aired season 2. Like, they have it. It's there. It's been a year. It's been a year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be.
That's the crazy thing.
Maybe
advertising the product.
Here you go. We're running it again, and that's all the way out in November.
Yeah, a product that they could sell too. This isn't even like, oh, let's just show it because we have it. Like, they spent all that time and money doing that remaster program, and now, like, you by airing it, you're essentially advertising what that is on that DVD and Blu-ray set. Like, you are gonna make money from this. It's so low. It's such a low-hanging fucking fruit. It's almost rotten. They could have picked up IGPX so many fucking times over the past year. And it's, yeah.
I mean, they own it. It's their show. It's just like, they just, yeah. I get the impression that programming looks at IGPX and goes, you're going to tank the night. No, we're not putting you on. Which is like, well, what are you going to do then? Like, you're just relying on the same 3 shows that we've seen a million times at this point. And at this point in time, it's just an uninteresting schedule for us to talk about. It's uninteresting for the viewer to tune in every week to see. Like, the only interesting shows that are currently on the block right now are Blue Exorcist and One Piece. and maybe Sailor Moon and Naruto if you want to watch those late at night. But that's a pretty bleak lineup when you have a show that aired in 2014 rerunning again, and then One Piece.
God, and not to mention too, like, you have a new show by Watanabe coming out. Why can't you like rerun a Watanabe show, like either Bebop or God forbid Space Dandy or even Samurai
Can
Champloo?
they get
Like,
any of them? Because remember, Crunchy Lords.
Yeah. It's kind of sad that we don't really have perpetual ownership over Space Dandy, because that would have been a good show to run at like 2:30, 3 a.m. But
I don't know. I just like because I mentioned last podcast when we did our year in review how like the past year just kind of killed me. Like in like not to say that it was a terrible year, but it was just like the lows were so abysmal. But there were some good, like there were some great highs, but the lows were really low. And when we were talking about January, we're just like, oh, God, okay, we're gonna start the year off like this, fine, but like hopefully it picks up, and like freaking we're in February, halfway through February, we see the schedule till March, and we're just like, okay, I see. It's going to be like that. We got nothing this year. It is absolutely nothing. What I don't understand is like, why does it? Because I said this last time and I'll say it again here, but it's like it felt like we were supposed to get something come January. Because first off, why would you rerun My Hero Season 6 if you had no intention of airing the 7th season? I guess Crunchyroll got rid of that. And then Daima, where's Daima? Like, it's funny because they premiered the dub the first weekend of January, like on Crunchyroll. So it's just like this felt like it was supposed to air, but it never did, or whatever.
Yeah, I get the impression that something happened. I don't know what happened, but something happened behind the scenes where something fell apart at the very last minute, and basically they were left scrambling, trying to figure out, okay, I guess we're doing a Uzumaki English dub marathon start of January. We have nothing, so we're just going to move Marshall up and move Invincible Fight Girl to 12:30, which is a bad idea. Never put a recent reran cartoon up at the front of the block. It's always going to tank the night. They should have learned that with Samurai Jack.
Q all over again.
I'm convinced it was supposed to be My Hero Academia Season 7, but because Toho reclaimed the rights, well, suddenly Toonami's contract is basically void, because if Crunchyroll doesn't have the broadcast rights, then Crunchyroll can't legally give it. There's nothing to give, so the contract became a paperweight. Now, sorry to cut it short, but I'm gonna have to leave because it's actually way later than I thought it is.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
But
you're good. You were here for a good chunk at the time.
Yeah, I hope I made up for lost time a bit. I can't guarantee that I'm gonna come back for a while, because living situations. But I had a ton of fun. You guys keep at it.
Take care, Silver.
Good
Nice meeting you.
Later.
Good seeing you.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Kudo. Bye.
Bye.
But yeah, I don't know. It was just like, I'm just beating a dead horse at this point. But it was just like, the fuck's going on with you guys? At this point, I'm only here out of obligation because y'all are not keeping y'all. What I think the other thing is too is that we don't know what goes on behind the scenes anymore because they don't have a freaking presence online anymore. Like we used to have pre-flight. Jason used to be open online.
We had pre-flight. We had the Tumblr. We had the Facebook. We had Jason on Twitter and Blue Sky, I guess. And now it's like they don't want to have any sort of communication with fans whatsoever.
And Jose said as much the other day. I mean, somebody linked a post he'd made where he said that, like, that's one of their biggest issues right now is they have no effective community outreach.
Yeah. basically.
And that's like, and the thing is, like, that goes back to what we were saying about what sets Toonami apart from, from these other attempts at an anime block is Toonami was always engaging with the fans. I mean, they've always been at the forefront of trying to, be more than just hours on TV. Like they've tried to be something that, that you feel like they actually care. And that's something that's big time been lost in the last, at least 12 months, I'd say.
It's been like that for, I'd argue, like a few years. It's been like that.
I mean, it's been slowly like decreasing little by little, and I think Jason leaving social media was probably it feels like the last straw as far as like losing that access.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
he was
like,
literally
it was
the
always
last
nice to
person.
get like information from like the crew. They didn't have to tell us anything about like their business. Obviously, they never told us everything because they can't detail every little detail. But it was always nice to have that transparency between the viewer and the business. But now it's just like, well, the business is the business, and they want to keep doing their business the way that
But
they
they're
do
not
it.
even marketing it. They're not even marketing their business. They have so much available free outreach in us. Like, we're here, we will do the work, but they don't communicate that. They don't advertise appropriately. They don't do any kind of audience outreach, like the most basic of basic marketing techniques. And I'm not even trained in this area, and I've worked in other industries that do better. Like, even the US government markets itself better than Toonami, which is egregious for anything in the entertainment industry to even be so subpar in their lack of marketing. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and I agree.
Like, nobody cares.
Even when we're not talking about like the Facebook page being so barren, it's like you have all these networks that you're part of Turner Broadcasting / Warner Brothers Television now. Why don't you do more cross promotion? You've done that a couple of times. I think there have been a couple Toonami ads during like NBA game or something like that. And I think they actually aired a Uzumaki promo spot in like an MLB game last year. But it's just kind of like, well, where's that community speak? If I was Adult Swim right now, I'd be kind of like thinking about like, okay, how do we continue to evolve Toonami? And I think one way in order for this block to evolve and continuing to see success, or at least what I think, is that it needs more social media presence. Just having a Facebook page isn't good enough. Like, maybe it was decent in 2015, 2016, but it's like, make a Blue Sky. Make something where there's a community manager coming in and saying, here, we're engaging. We're going to do a short little Q&A. Ask us anything. We obviously can't answer specific questions. You lay out that stuff up front, all that stuff. But it's very obvious to me that Adult Swim just isn't prioritizing Toonami like that anymore.
Yeah, well, and I think Kuro said it best in that, they have the fan sites that they can really get to basically do free marketing for them. And the thing is, I mean, Sam, you have to go to them and ask them for screeners. They're not coming to us and going like, hey guys, we have this show coming out soon. Do you want to do an early review on it? Don't put any spoilers, blah blah blah. Which that's pretty standard practice.
Yeah, that's very standard.
Spoiler-free stuff, But like, they could be coming to us and asking us to do these things instead of us having to go to them and be like, hey, can we advertise your block for you? Like, lean on us.
Just to say, like, we're not owed anything. So I just want to make that very clear.
We'll settle for a t-shirt. I'm an XXS.
and that's the thing, isn't it? Like, absolutely, like, we're not owed anything by any means. But like, the thing is, obviously we do this stuff for the love of it. I mean, we're not getting paid to do it. So, we're spending our time and effort and all this doing it for free anyway. Like, you use us to your advantage. Like, take advantage of what you have. And that's the problem, is they're just not, they're not doing that. And, I think, like you said, make a Blue Sky, make a Twitter account, whatever. The thing is, make it, okay, I understand that Jason stepped away from social media because it was overwhelming, it was overbearing, he was having
Mhm.
he was having issues spending too much time on it. I totally get that, and I get that at the end of the day, at a certain point, he may have become a scapegoat for things that were out of his control.
No, yeah,
yes,
for
of
sure.
course,
And
certainly-
I do feel bad for that to some extent. I do feel bad for him for that reason, because it's
Right.
like, well, some things are out of his control. I don't blame him for some things not going the way that they're supposed to.
But the thing is, what I think is what you said, about have some kind of account, have a community manager, that's the thing.
Explain to us
Well,
why
just-
things are the way they are.
Well, effectively, what you want is a faceless account. You
Yes.
don't want it to be Jason's account. You want it to be the Toonami account. That way, if it's the community manager answering questions, or if it's Jason who suddenly goes, "Hey, I'm stuck in an airport. I want to do, one of those. I'm going to be here for 2 hours. Ask me questions about things." Then he can do it without it necessarily having to be known that it's Jason doing that.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing is that's where they need that anonymity in a sense.
Yes. And I think I agree. It's just like, if they do, which I don't think they will, but if they do make a Blue Sky account, that's what they should be doing, is that it needs to be faceless. It can't be like a very personal one-to-one conversation with the fans. It has to be a faceless corporation marking itself as a brand, essentially.
Yeah.
But still be like friendly enough to be like, hey, here, ask us a couple questions here and there. We'll try and answer them.
Right.
At the very least, say we have things planned or something, at least something, because it's just like nowadays they just come up, here's the new lineup, that's it.
I listened to the last Toonami Faithful podcast, and I agree with Sketch. It's just like, that's just a bunch of fluff PR, because I'm just like, I don't really want to hear that. I'm sick and tired of you saying, we have something coming, please be patient with us. And it's like, well, we're waiting 6 months for new shows, so
And then of course the problem is you also run into, it's like, what happens when something changes? I mean, what would they have done if they'd have gone going into the month of DBZ as Rewind was coming to an end? What happens if they go hey, stay tuned, we've got some things in the works, and the things in the works are we're killing this part of the block, at a certain point, the fluff doesn't do them any favors.
Yeah.
I mean, radio silence doesn't help either, but I think realistically, I'd kind of rather have radio silence than a bunch of please just trust us, we've got some things coming, and just hold on, because I hate to say it, but we heard that for 5 years with Uzumaki, and we know how that came out.
Yeah, and it's
we don't talk about that anymore.
To reiterate, 2023 is just they kept saying that their entire year on their Facebook, and they got egg on their face because we were waiting until basically the end of the year before we got something brand new. Now, obviously, we did get some new things here and there. We got the One Piece crossover with Toriko, and Dr. Stone came back along with.
Still waiting on
My
that
Hero?
4th season.
But it's most of the new acquisitions didn't come until the very end of the year. So at least now they're just we'll update you with a schedule randomly. Well, not randomly, they're timed out in a specific way so that they know when they're going to announce them.
Yeah,
I just think it's a case of while schedule updates and things like that going hey, just just hold on a little longer, that turns into fluff. But in not doing that, that's where you need to engage with the fans and talk about other stuff, talk about the history of the block, talk about just
do throwback posts or whatever.
I mean, post old things. I mean, I understand that there are problems with running old speeches and stuff like that, because the problem is those were cut together with stuff, shows that they had the rights to at the time, and they don't have the rights to them anymore, which is why they can't re-air that stuff. I get that, but there's at a certain point, it also, I guess, really comes down to also how some of their contracts for that stuff work, because I know for our stuff at Discotech, we're allowed to post, openings and endings and stuff like that. And as far as I understand it, like we're under no obligation to delete those off our YouTube when the licenses expire. Like we can just leave them up. I mean, you know, the companies can copyright strike them after that if they want, then they get taken down. That's fine. But like, you know, if they have the ability to write it in like, hey, we want to be able to use these clips in the future, do it. You know, but I understand that they can't necessarily do that. But the thing is, talk about what goes into selecting the clips for those kind of things. You know, just talk to your audience.
Yeah.
Literally. Like, also, it's like, because you mentioned like speeches, I remember for a while, and they stopped doing these. They used to do like these like TikTok formatted, like edited, like mini Toonami AMVs. Like pretty much, like I remember they were like 10 to 15 seconds, and they would just have like small clips of like say Naruto and My Hero Academia with like some Toonami music playing in the background. Mm-hmm. And I remember they did that like, I want to say 3 times, and then they stopped. And I don't know, just like stuff like that. And it's just I think what bothers me more is that like it's not even the fact that like we just have such a shit lineup, but it's also coupled by the fact that like we don't fucking know what is going on with them anymore, and we and like they're so like deaf and like faceless, and I don't know, it's just like we don't know anymore because everyone's gone, and like the Facebook is barren as all hell. Like we can't even have fan art back.
At least for fan art, I understand why they got rid of that.
Yeah,
that's still annoying, but oh well, I understand.
Thank you, random jackass that sent inflation art.
And that's
wild that
always
greenlit that.
I just want to shoot him.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that it's like, yeah, it sucks because, you know, that is something that, you know, in order to bring it back, you have to have, you know, somebody on staff sitting there spending their time vetting that. And it's like, you know, I understand that they don't want to spend that time on that.
Well, I mean, like Toonami is still a free job, right? Yeah. Like that would be a job within itself, and Adult Swim isn't going to pay extra to do all that. So
no, and of course, you know, the first thing you'd get is, you know, you'll have a ton of fans who'd be like, well, I'll volunteer. It's like, no, because you don't understand that this is what happened in the first place. Fans were left to be trusted to just, you know, send stuff in, and look what happened.
Yeah, and also like it's a giant corporation. Giant corporations don't typically want fans to run accounts for them. Sorry.
Yeah, not a good idea. No, very bad idea.
Phantom, because I know you've been telling. How are you feeling on this recent schedule update?
He sighed and shook his head.
I don't know what else to say. I mean,
everyone, like that's all our reactions. Sigh,
really?
shake
Are
my
you
head.
Fucking kidding me? What were they thinking?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm still on a Toonami hiatus because of shit like this. So until
even the dog doesn't like it.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
He's whining and upset about it.
Yeah, I get comfortable, and he's old. But anyway, no, seriously though, I'm still on this Toonami hiatus because they haven't played anything interesting outside of Mashal. But till then, I'm sticking with my hiatus, man.
I mean, at the very least, I haven't seen Blue Exorcist before, so I'm watching it via Toonami.
I like it.
I've been enjoying my rewatch of it, although I totally forgot what happened like the second half of the show, so this will be interesting.
I mean, the only important thing that matters is Kuro.
Yes,
that should
course.
be obvious.
Of course. I cried.
Now I know where she got her name.
Kuro, because he reminded me of my baby. He's no longer here.
Kuro is baby, yes.
Sorry, I'm like lost in thought. Kuro, how are you feeling overall on this?
It's so frustrating because I have been such a loyal fan, and every time there've been slumps, I have been the person being positive. I've talked about, well, we have this and this is great and we're looking forward to that. There was always kind of something keeping it great, or even certain rewatches that I didn't mind. This just I think I've reached the end of my patience for bullshit at this point, because first of all, the way the schedule's laid out is garbage, and the only having Sailor Moon at the end doesn't make sense. Cutting off Invincible Fight Girl doesn't make sense. Replaying grunge, I don't have strong feelings about grunge. That's fine, but if it was aired along something fresh, I'd feel different. But there's nothing fresh, and even Blue's Exorcist, which a show that I really enjoy. There's no communication to us that there's no indication that they're going to keep airing the subsequent seasons. And oh, by the way, Kyoto Saga came out in 2017, so it's not like it's fucking expensive to get. Like, I don't believe that is like premium content that everyone's falling over themselves and competing for. I refuse, and I'm gonna say
maybe not as much as it was back in the day, because Hulu outbidded them for that license.
But it's 2025, and that was
obviously that license is no longer applicable. I think it left Hulu.
It's been 7 years. That's a 7-year-old season. There's no reason why they couldn't continue it, but they're not even telling us that. And I will give them grace for. I'm willing to believe that something happened in January that they didn't get access to something. Sure, that's one show. Okay, this is a block that has 6 shows on it. So what's your excuse for the rest of this? I mean, One Piece, yes, we'll take it, but I'm of the mind, and I've thought about this through several different angles, and I've come to the conclusion that there just really is no one in a leadership position that understands this audience or even cares. It's not even just a budget.
I agree fully with that.
No, in charge, because the budget issue is one thing, but people with budget issues will make an effort. Like, they would have one top line that they'll put money into, and then they'll try and push that. But they're not doing anything other than recycling stuff they have. They've cheaped out in the most egregious way possible, and not making any effort to have the least bit fresh show, or picking up something that's like a hidden gem. Like, there's a lot of ways that they could have gone budget friendly with this that they haven't even explored. So it's made me convinced that, I know that Gil and there are people that might still be over there, but I don't think they're in charge anymore. So whoever is pulling the puppet strings here doesn't understand this audience and just doesn't care anymore, because this is such a I can't be bothered lineup. It's like they're not getting the point. The point is the community. The point is the catered block. The point is a mix of different kind of animated shows. Like, you could have easily put, I'm going to pay for one top line show. We're going to have one original. We're going to have one old gem. In this place, maybe it could be Blue Exorcist, and then their other 3 will be reruns of stuff we already have. That would be a good block. That's a solid block. But they didn't do any of that. This is all just recycled stuff. It's just I feel so disrespected as a fan that has been so loyal and that has given a lot of my time and energy into pushing this product. Like, I can't tell you how angry it makes me to see this. And this has been me after years of being like, well, this isn't so bad. It'll be okay. And I'm normally super, super positive about things in general, but I just felt so disappointed and so angry. And I've thought about this in a couple different angles and all the things that could go on business wide, but ultimately Warner Brothers is just not willing to put forth any capital, which is wild to me because they make all their money off of this getting ads. So they're basically, right now what's airing, they are making money because they're showing ads that people are paying to post, but if they're only going to recycle shows they already have, then they're not paying for anything. So I that's why I can't ultimately buy the budget argument at all. If they cared, they would make it work, but they just don't care anymore.
I want to make like a small statement, because I wrote this in a different Discord, and I'm not going to get into a full discussion about this because this could literally take hours of breaking down. But I wrote this down, and to paraphrase it, is basically the priority for Adult Swim these days is that Toonami is not the main priority, right? They view it as an additional add-on, not as a necessary need.
Yep.
But they want to keep it on because it feeds back into their subscription platform. It feeds back into the network. It has its own dedicated audience and fan base. They seem to be perfectly happy with just watching what's on. But I do agree with you that they need to make it work, right? So this is what you want to give us. Okay, well, there needs to be more enticing options. There needs to be more things for people to come to. And like we've been saying from this entire podcast is that Toonami has always been an experience. You come for the experience. The shows are the afterthought.
And the only thing I really have an interest in watching right now is One Piece and Blue Exorcist. So, I mean, I love Sailor Moon, but it'll depend. Like, sometimes I don't want to stay up and past Kai and Naruto. Like, I actually don't care about Kai personally. No disrespect to the show. I'm just not interested in watching it at all. So what's the incentive for me to wait an hour and then watch Sailor Moon again? It's not there. So the whole... If they had some flow with it, maybe I could give them a little grace. But the whole like, oh, I'm not even gonna buy the stopgap theory with the 3 episodes of shoegaze and grunge, you know, bridging until Lazarus and Rooster Fighter, because that shouldn't be the only thing you have going on the block. You should have at least 2 things fresh on the block, at least.
I agree 100%, and I mean, they still had Fight Girl episodes. They could have obviously continued just doing that and just be like, here's Fully Grunge, here's Fight Girl, and then here's Blue Exorcist. It's not still a great lineup, but at least it means like, okay, at least you still have like one more modern-ish show currently running. You don't even have that anymore. So it's basically, here is a bunch of old crap that you guys don't really want to watch.
It is funny. It's funny with the Blue Exorcist thing though, because like mentioning earlier, oh, maybe they're speeding up Blue Exorcist for the Kyoto arc, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, a few months ago I said, oh, maybe they're speeding up My Hero season 6 so they could air season 7.
My thing is like, that they're doubling up Blue Exorcist because they don't have anything else right now. Now, I don't know. Yes. Maybe we'll see what happens in March.
At the very least,
I'm just not expecting a whole lot to happen in March. I'm just expecting once Fully Grunge ends, Shoegaze runs, and it's just double Blue Exorcist until, I don't know, April 5th or whenever Lazarus premieres. We'll start learning more about Lazarus and when it's actually going to premiere in probably like late February, early March-ish.
I was going to say, we should be learning soon because we're about to hit March, and it's like, usually these trailers are like a month out.
They probably have to wait for their partners in Japan to announce it first, because I believe that's how it happened with like the announcement of it being a premiere in April, because I think it was TV Tokyo. Is it TV Tokyo? It was one of the Japanese stations basically saying, hey, Lazarus is premiering in April. And we'll give you more details later on. And then Adult Swim confirmed that, hey, Lazarus is premiering in April. So I get the impression that their partners have to make the announcement first, not Adult Swim. Which is very different from how they did it before, because it was always Adult Swim made the announcement first, and then their partners would follow suit.
There's just so many better ways this could have been handled, and so many different things they could have gotten right. Like obviously you guys have talked a lot about the lack of marketing and communication, which is something that I've been saying as well on the Toonami Faithful podcast, how frustrating of experience that has been for the past 2 years especially. And I definitely agree with everything that was said on that factor. But even putting that aside, like the lack of leadership that's apparent, I mean no, there's no effort here. There's no consciousness of your audience here. And that's the part that really feels disrespectful, because Toonami fans have been so loyal. But you have to feed that back. You have to give back some of that.
Well, and I think, there's also one thing that, that the lack of leadership kind of, goes into is one of the things I've learned, especially in the last, few times that at AnimeGo that we've done our little town hall streams and we're announcing shows, is the modern anime fan is not afraid of old, like they don't want to watch anime from like the 70s and like early 80s. That's fair. But the modern anime fan has a pretty, I won't call it severe gap, but they have a pretty sizable gap of like 2000 to 2010. Like there's a pretty sizable gap in shows there. I mean, I literally, my coworker who does a lot of our trailer cutting and stuff for Animego and Discotech, he mentioned today, he said, I've seen over 880 anime and I've still never seen Haruhi Suzumiya. Now, okay, would that be a fit for the block? Debatable. No. And of course there's the licensing issues because it's Crunchyroll. But the thing is, I don't think the people that are calling the shots understand that there's not that fear of old shows that there was at a time. Like, I totally understand. Jason has said in the past that, like, the older the show, the harder to sell it was. Like, that's why Mobile Suit Gundam flopped for him. I totally
I mean, there's, like, obviously exceptions to the rule. DBZ, Cowboy Bebop, there will always be exceptions to the rule. Because those are seminal classics. They've been pop culture icons for such a long time. People will tune into them.
But you have the advantage. Yeah, but the thing is, you have the advantage of, realistically, aside from the fact that a lot of it was animated in standard def and gets upscaled versus, stuff that's animated, in HD now, everything's Digipaint. Digipaint has not changed, all that drastically from 2004, 2005, 2006 to now. I mean, when they ran Gurren Lagann, that was a show that was animated in 2007 in standard def. The only difference is they were able to go back to the original vectors and re-render the show in HD. They did the same thing with Gundam Seed's HD remaster. They went back to the original files and re-rendered it. So the thing is, like,
Gurren Lagann would play better.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely. Well, they also didn't crop it to screw it up. But the whole thing is, like, my point there is, okay, there's a show from 2002 with Gundam Seed, with 2007, and you could put Gurren Lagann up next to modern shows, and people can't tell the difference. So the thing is,
it's also still a phenomenal piece of entertainment. It's one of the best animes ever made.
Right, but what that says is there is a treasure trove of anime from that era that I'm sure, Crunchyroll, I know for a fact, they let stuff lapse little by little. I mean, we got a show at Discotech last year that Funimation had streamed like 9 years ago, and we released it.
And Funimation used to have Sergeant Frog, and then you guys got Sergeant Frog from...
Well, Monster would do so well on Toonami. Like, that fits... and it's long,
God,
and there's a lot of
that
people who haven't
Netflix only
seen
has
it.
that, and it's not even like the English dub. They don't have the English dub.
Yeah, the licensing on that, because Viz had said once, they're like, the amount of discs that the people in charge in Japan would force us to print would bankrupt Viz, but like, it would be such a massive loss. They're like, we can't justify doing it. But the whole my whole point is, there's such a treasure trove of shows that Crunchyroll has almost certainly let expire. If they were legacy contracts from Funimation, or if they were just stuff they had licensed, or they only have a streaming license for it, because there's plenty of stuff that they only have the streaming license for. We at Discotech don't get TV rights for stuff. So the thing is, when if we don't have the TV rights, where do you go? Well, you go to the freaking company that has the license. And maybe the people in charge, I mean, you'd think that because they deal with Toei directly, and they dealt with TMS directly when they ran Lupin, maybe the people who are doing that are not there anymore, and the people that are making the calls now don't know, hey, we need to talk to these companies directly and get some of these older shows, because the thing is, those older shows, I know for a fact, that's why we get them, because we can license them for a reasonable price and then sell them for a reasonable price. And that's the
even
thing that
High
they
Dive. They could go to High Dive. Like,
they have Sentai, there's options. And even like, I put this out there, you aired subtitled anime last year. Yes, granted, those were your original shows.
But try it again.
Why not try it again? Like, get a show that people have been asking. Like, why not Gintama? Like, you could air subtitled Gintama. I know there's some seasons that are dubbed. Maybe it's always
Yeah.
no. There's some seasons that are dubbed.
Gintama would be
But-
great subbed. I think it would play really well with the Toonami audience. I know some people feel really strongly about the whole dub versus sub issue, but honestly, it's one show and people tend to.
Why they keep subs off of television because people don't want to read. But considering nowadays that television is a barren wasteland, try it. And they did try it, and I don't know how successful that was, but honestly, if you're not going to be paying a whole ton of money for these licenses, why not try for a cheap subtitled show and see where it goes from there?
Yeah, and the thing is, it goes back to what the director of Parasite said. Once you get over the 2-inch high barrier of subtitles, a whole new world opens up to you.
Yeah,
and that's,
I've been watching subtitled shows since I was a kid. Like my parents used to play Italian mystery Montalbano, and like I was kind of bred on like, oh, you this is part of what we do. So it's really not hard. Like I'm not going to push it on someone who doesn't want to watch it, but I'm telling you, whatever in your mind is holding you up from like, oh, it's hard to read or blah blah blah. Like it actually, you get into a rhythm. It's very easy to do. They're usually printed at a reasonable rate.
And
you don't have to watch it.
Pretty terrible.
No, because it was black and white and it made it difficult. But like in general, subs, it's not that big of a barrier to get.
No,
there,
and the thing is, like
It's
I've read surveys with younger people who have said that, like they said, do you watch TV with like closed captions or subtitles on?
Yeah.
And a lot of people just turn them on. Part of it's because audio mixing in a lot of modern productions is just fucking ass.
Yeah, where the sound is really, really loud,
No,
the voices are
but-
so quiet.
But the thing is, like that alone, it's like, okay, well, if you turn on subtitles to deal with that, then why can't you deal with subtitles for an anime?
Exactly
Like,
the same thing.
Where's the difference,
Yep.
There's a lot of questions we got, and we will probably never get answered. And honestly, like I can't even end the podcast by saying, "Oh, I hope that it gets better," because I don't even know if it'll get better. Because for all we know, the Blue Exorcist could stop at season 1, and we'll just get freaking Ninja Kamui back or whatever.
God,
Rick-
I would rage.
God forbid,
I would
forbid,
rage.
Rick and Morty.
They can't get season 2. Nekomata mode Kuro is happening.
But I guess just like final thoughts on this whole schedule shit.
Do
I'm
better.
not mad. I'm just disappointed.
I'm mad.
enough said.
Frustrated.
Do better. I guess my perfect notes are just fucking pathetic. Absolutely fucking pathetic. And
I mean, to
I'm
quote-
already-
I was gonna say, to quote a YouTuber in regards to Toonami stalling for Lazarus, you think I'm stalling? Yes, stalling! Stalling! Yes, stalling!
Oh God.
Any
Perfect.
Uncle L fans out there? If you know, you know.
But yeah, I don't know. Just Toonami, like, just do better. I don't know. I don't even know what else to say because I'm trying to be positive, but it's like I can't. I cannot.
I feel you on that. It's hard to be positive, especially when you spend so much of your free time promoting this material and really making an effort. And it is, like I said initially, it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to the fans. It's disrespectful to the people who actually worked hard on the block for so long, for all the years where it was peaking. And it would be nice to see somebody come and get into a leadership position that actually understands what this is about and start putting forth some effort.
But yeah, so I guess we will conclude it here. Oh God, this is another long one. Well, I mean, it's not as long as the last two. But yeah. So Toonami, all I can just say is do better. Just do better. That's all.
Yeah,
That's all I
yeah.
can say.
We'll be here.
So anyway, you can follow me on Twitter at Samster209, Blue Sky Samster209, YouTube channel Samster209, where I archive Toonami now, and I'm currently like I haven't started yet, but I plan on compiling all the parts of the tier list into a massive mega video. I'm not going to add anything to it. Well, the only thing I'm adding are some extra submitted tier list. Thank you, Kuro, for yours, by the way. But I'm not gonna include any of the stuff that was added after because, God no. But yeah, like that's the only thing I have planned for it. Just making all those tier list parts into one big video because I want to push that again because I feel like me trying to rush it out when I had that hurricane coming kind of hamstrung it a bit. But yeah. Also. Toonami, you go to ToonamiSquad.com for latest articles. I know Sam's been putting out some articles recently, and of course like Toonami Squad Twitter, Toonami Squad Blue Sky. We have a Threads, we got TikTok, expired merch at Red Vocal. That's like tradition that I say that. I think we have a Facebook page too. But yeah, you can find us all on there. Logan, where can we find you?
At Schmollis1 on Twitter, Schmollis on Blue Sky. That's pretty much about it. Do check out, it should be launching in a couple weeks. If you have any interest in the history of like the early anime industry in the West, check out Animego's YouTube channel. We're launching our interview series where our CEO at Media OCD interviewed a ton of people that were like early pioneers in Western anime. So I don't think he did the interview yet, but I know he was looking to eventually try to interview some of the Toonami folks. So if this series is successful, then I know he wants to keep it going. So yeah, check it out.
All right, Phantom, where can we find you?
Over in Blue Sky at Fanstar64, as well as TS Gaming Zone over on Blue Sky and Twitch.tv/TS Gaming Zone. Almost done with Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. I got like 2 stars left. Also, just want to say thoughts and prayers to Mike McFarlane.
Oh
for
yeah,
his recovery. Yes, he was supposed to be here in Lakeland, and understandably he had to cancel at the last minute because of his surgery. So, thoughts and prayers to Mike McFarlane.
Yep.
All right, Sam, where can we find you?
Sorry.
Bless you.
No, I was coughing.
Oh.
You can find me over at Blue Sky at SC Universe. I am working on a Space Dandy Toonami throwback. I'm still waiting for Logan to send me that back.
Yeah, that's on me. It's it'll be ready soon, I promise.
No, sorry. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. I also plan to have some other things that I plan on working on, but I have no dates for those, so they'll be out when they're out.
Mm-hmm. And Kuro, where can we find you?
Both on Twitter and on Blue Sky at Happy Kuro Kitty and the Toonami Faithful podcast. And I'll be writing a series this year, a monthly series that will focus on different forms of Japanese mythology featured on Toonami in shows that were on Toonami, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's a special passion of mine, mythology. So either the old movies references or the mythology references. So I've been having a lot of fun doing research for this series. So I'm looking forward to posting these articles soon. So if you're interested, check them out and let me know what you think.
All right, that does sound interesting. All right, well, this has been another episode of Toonami Squad Sessions podcast. We were just under the last 2, so I'll take that as a win. But yeah, thank you. But yeah, so I guess at this point, y'all take care. Y'all have a good night and see ya
Later.
Taters.